Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Charlie Usen over there. Don't forget our fine folks over there at Bryan and Stratton. I'm telling you, I think it's like the best kept secret in the state of Wisconsin. Down here in southeastern Wisconsin, because it's in Wauwatosa, we know about Bryan Stratton, obviously. But I don't know if y'all know about it, as much in Green Bay and Appleton, Wausau, Duluth, Superior, maybe even in Madison. Maybe you don't know enough about Bryan and Stratton in Madison. If you're looking for a college where you can excel in the classroom and on the field, at Bryan and Stratton College's Wauwatosa campus, you can compete in the NJC AA Division II athletics with more than 20 men's and women's teams to choose from. Keep playing the sport you love while earning your associate degree in business, healthcare, criminal justice, or digital marketing. Athletic scholarships are available for those who qualify. Again, nothing against D3. You're not getting scholarship money there. You are going to have the opportunity potentially to get scholarship money with Bryan and Stratton College in Tosa. Visit bryanstratton.edu and discover how Bryan and Stratton College is built different for you. Those of you that have kids that want to continue playing sports but aren't good enough to play D1 or whatever else, here's your opportunity. Those of you that have kids that, hey, they got some offers from some low D1 schools, but it's going to be kind of expensive. Like baseball, for instance, you only get partial money in baseball, right? Because in baseball, the way it works is they get a pool of money, the coach does, and then that coach has to split it up amongst his roster. Some get no money. Some get a small percentage of money. Some get a bigger percentage. But for the most part, there's not like a ton of full rides in baseball anymore. So for that instance, maybe you're like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can go play at Bryan Stratton. I'm going to go play baseball there for a couple of years and then maybe take my talents to a bigger D1 school and go play my last 2 years there and save spending a bunch of money and potentially get scholarship money at Bryan and Stratton. Again, it's a no-brainer right now, and they're looking for track and field athletes like we talk about. Visit bryanstratton.edu, and discover how Bryan and Stratton College is built different for you. We're almost out of time. We only got a couple of minutes left before the top of the hour, and then we'll come back and we'll get into some of what's going on at Packers training camp. At 3:20, Jake Kocorowski, BadgerObserver.com, will join us. He was at Big Ten Media Days. Looking forward to talking to him. Charlie Sounds of the Day come up at 3:40. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, we'll get more into what Brian Gutekunst said earlier today at 4 o'clock. Also, we're efforting potentially to do an interview concerning more of what is going on with the tornado that touched down and rolled through Menasha and other parts there. And also a great fundraiser that they're looking to collect supplies and so forth. We'll tell you more about that at the top of the hour. And then we'll hear from Matt LaFleur to wrap up the 4 o'clock hour as well here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. A couple of the other things that I wanted to bring up before we kind of switch gears and go into the Green Bay Packers. I've been kind of following along and looking at all these reports. And yesterday we had that dude on from Mile High Sports. Pretty much everything he brought up on that interview has now been brought up on social media since that interview, tying in a bunch of different guys, including AJ Green being a potential guy that goes for Peyton Watson in a deal to the Denver Nuggets. And I will simply tell you that is fine with me.
Oh, I thought you were going to be heartbroken, Sparky.
No, you can have him. The thing for me in all of this, as we've talked about, is just the money. Like, if you're going to pay him that money, what's his upside? Like, what's his ceiling? Like, who is he? If everything goes right, who is he when everything is said and done? If you go, he's Desmond Bain, pass. If he's better than that, you're saying his upside is better than that. Yeah, okay. Then I'll listen.
Is that like the threshold though? Like just a little better than Desmond Bain is fine with you? Like Desmond Bain is the Mendoza line for you?
Yeah, he's got to be better than Desmond Bain.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to be better than that. I don't know who is the ultimate guy. Like
the ultimate like 3-and-D guy is Kawhi Leonard. I think that's obviously the top guy that you're thinking of, like a modern NBA.
That's probably not happening. No.
I think is Mikal Bridges higher than Desmond Bain? being
Yeah,
in your
probably somewhere in
mind?
that
So,
area.
like, you'd be okay with that. Like,
so
with
maybe
coverages?
it's somewhere
Okay.
in that area if that's what he ends up being. And that's a nice, solid player in a starting lineup kind of going forward. All right, coming up next hour, we'll check in on Packers training camp. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Yeehaw! Welcome in, 3 o'clock hour. Packers training camp is upon us. I was filling in for John Kuhn on 9 to noon today from like 10:30 to noon, talking to Rami. And he was all excited. They do the drive the headlines thing or whatever. Number one headline, Packers training camp. And I kind of maybe eye rolled a little bit, like.
So this guy doesn't like college sports, won't watch Olympic sports.
Nope.
But he gets hyped over training camp.
What's the NFL? Let me explain. Rami loves the NFL, loves Major League Baseball. I think maybe Major League Baseball is his favorite, but NFL,
that's what he said earlier.
Major League Baseball, and then the NBA. And NBA is a distant third to the other two, right? So those are his three. He's not going to watch the NHL. He does not like watching the Badgers. He will, because it's his job and he'll deal with it. Football or basketball, out. Don't ask him to go to a high school sports event. He ain't going. There's no way. He'll pay you not to go watch high school sports. Because in his mind, the best performance you're going to see athletically is at pro events. So why would he subject himself to watching a lower level of performance just because? It doesn't make any sense
so
to him.
Pay attention to practice squad players running around.
He does
for
not
half
care
of the
about
day.
that.
Like, that doesn't matter.
He does
That's
not care
crazy.
about practice squad players at
So
all.
he'll watch every little aspect of those other sports. Like, it doesn't matter, even the boring stuff, and that's more entertaining than college and Olympics.
I don't think, I could be wrong. I don't think Rami would go to training camp and be like, oh yeah, this is cool. I think Rami would go to training camp and be like, this is really boring. I'll just wait for the game. Like, I think that's how he would probably look at it, And I want to try and get Rami to training camp this year in Green Bay to do a show with him and John Kuhn or whatever. But yeah, I think that's kind of probably his reaction. After about a half hour, I'd be like, I'm good. Can I go now? Because I don't really need to watch this. This is really boring. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, no doubt. Right. Okay. So I wanted to get into Packers training camp because obviously the Packers are going on and all that. And the aspect that I like the most about Packers training camp, can you guess the aspect that I like the most about Packers training camp, Charlie Usen?
Kicking competitions.
No, that's Rob Domofsky, ESPN's very own Packers beat writer.
Hearing from Matt LaFleur all the time.
No, definitely not. No, no.
Hearing about the second running back having a really good day. You were excited about that, weren't you?
I don't know.
He looks explosive.
I literally have not seen a thing.
Oh, you haven't seen a single thing? Okay.
We're going to do it now together.
All right.
Okay. Now, this is what I like the most. Being here in the studio and going through on X and reading play-by-play from like Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast or Ryan Wood or Paul Brettel, whoever it may be there, right? Doing play-by-play, those of you that are doing it, that's where I'm all about. And sometimes you get lucky, right? Sometimes you'll have one guy, Packer beat writer, on the offensive side of the field watching one thing, and then another guy is on the other side of the field. And then once you figure that out, you're like, oh, I'm not at the practice. I can see both sides through their eyes of what's going on, and they don't get to do that. They're got to be focused on what they're talking about. They miss everything on the other side.
It's gotta be like, and they got to type so fast. Like their fingers have to be tired.
Yeah, but you got to just be a professional. Just like, you're supposed to get better the more you type. Right. If you took a typing class like I did in high school, you should get pretty proficient and fast the more you do it. Now, if you don't do it a lot, you're going to be poking, and it's going to take you forever to do it.
Typing classes on a typewriter?
Typing classes.
Were you that old? Like, was that what you were doing?
No, I think it was a computer.
We used to play games that were typing games. That was the typing class.
Definitely did not have typing games.
Typed in like words to make your race car go faster, and you would race your friends during class and stuff.
No, my typing teacher was a guy that back in the day, in Milwaukee on the Fan, we had this thing called the scoreboard show, high school scoreboard show. And, we'd have all kinds of 15, 20 people going out to different events. And then they would call in to the host of the scoreboard show, which back then started off as Mike Big Time McGivern and Joe Cook, who was the old coach at Oak Creek. And then that turned into, when Joe got back into coaching and stuff, it turned into Ron Davies. Ron Davies was a legendary coach from Kenosha Tremper. Then he was at Mesmer Shorewood and all of that. Well, Ron Davies was, when he was the coach at Tremper, he also was the keyboard teacher. That's the teaching gig. So he was my keyboard teacher back in the day. Huh. And no, we definitely did not have typing games back then. But I'm very thankful that I took that class because it helps you for the rest of your life learning how to type.
Yeah, I guess. I just feel like nowadays, everybody you just naturally do now too.
Now I feel like now I could use a how to type faster on X thing, like how to do it with one finger.
If Sparky could type faster on X, it would be a constant stream of
just
tweets constantly going out. We should be happy he doesn't have that ability yet.
I think that's fair. Yes, I absolutely think that's fair. Okay, so some of the stuff coming out of training camp today. Keyshawn Nixon not practicing with either a hamstring issue, it appears. I'm sick of injuries. Can I just say this? I heard Jager Burden got hurt.
Yes, he went off the field. He came back out without
a helmet.
Yeah.
He just got here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so done with this.
Well, Javon Hargrave was on the PUP before practice even started.
Musgrave has a neck issue. He hasn't done anything.
He's been on the team. You know he was just always going to be hurt. That's what Musgrave is. These new guys, that's what's frustrating.
I literally,
new guys are hurt coming in.
When that happened during 9 to noon, I want to say that broke. And I literally looked at Rami and said, just cut him. He goes, what? I got just cut Musgrave. I'm done. You can go find a backup tight end that at least will be on the field and can give you something. The dude is constantly hurt. And if you're special, right? If you're a special player, I'll deal with it in hopes we figure this out. If you're not special, at some point, the team just goes, it's been fun.
Matt LaFleur said he's really fast. And Matt LaFleur said that today.
Who's really fast?
Luke Musgrave.
That's
his best talent. He's just when you have a player like that at that position where his top talent is speed, that we got to keep that around. We got to make sure we utilize that. Yeah.
I have a question, Coach. Coach, this ain't track and field, man. You've got to be able to catch the ball. You got to be able to stay on your feet after you catch the ball. There's other things that go into it, right? Musgrave was supposed to be what Tucker Kraft is. And that it completely never, ever happened. It never happened. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to stretch the field. When they drafted Tucker Kraft, you know what they thought they had? They thought they had a blocking tight end that could be maybe a nice little red zone target. That's all that was supposed to be. Musgrave opened the door wide open for Tucker Kraft to take his job and let him push it all the way to where he is. Now, Matt Steinman came out yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, the Packers beat right from The Athletic, said he won't be surprised if Tucker Kraft was the highest paid tight end in football in the next 2 weeks. That was supposed to be you, man. And now, yeah.
Well,
that he frustrates me to no end because yes, he is fast. No question. If he had any ability to stay on his feet, and I don't even know how you teach it. I don't. The first thing that comes to my mind, you're going to laugh, is they have the American Gladiator show, right? Mm-hmm. Just make him run an American Gladiators course over and over again, right? Balancing on those little bouncy things as you run through the water, hop over a wall.
You think he's going to stay healthy doing that?
Probably not. I guess that's a good point.
Well, and I think also part of this too is that while he has been able to stay on the field, he doesn't do the other parts of the game that you expect a player in that spot to be doing. I also don't think Matt LaFleur's offense has really led towards that style of player either. That downfield tight end, he maybe goes to that once or twice a game. And even Tucker Kraft, he uses him more in those short yardage roles where Tucker Kraft can then have the yak. And that's what's huge for Tucker Kraft and what he was able to build upon over the past couple seasons. And I think that's where he's been able to grow, is that he's been willing to find and get better at these different parts of the game that Luke Musgrave hasn't been able to at this point. And that, yeah, Luke, you can be the downfield threat, you can be that speed guy, but I'm going to learn how to block really well. I'm going to learn how to be the middle of the field option and the middle downs. I'm going to learn how to be the screen guy on these tight end plays where then I can make a play afterwards. He's been able to grow as a player more wholly than Luke Musgrave has at this point.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And again, that's why you can't necessarily control health. If you could control health, Greg Oden would have been amazing in the NBA. If you could control health, Garrett Mitchell would already have had a contract extension if he played like this the last couple of years and wasn't hurt constantly. But sometimes you can't control health. And the career that you and everybody thought you were going to have doesn't pan out for whatever fluky, weird reasons that there are. And a lot of times when that player can't stay healthy, it opens the door of opportunity for others. Then those people have to make the decision if they're going to bust the door down and go, or if they're going to let you just stay where you are and maintain that job. And Tucker Kraft walked in and said, you will never, ever have this job again. I will make damn sure of it. And Luke Musgrave is never, ever going to get that job back from Tucker Kraft unless Tucker Kraft all of a sudden gets hurt again, as he did last year.
And Luke Musgrave can stay on the field and do all the things that Tucker Kraft has been able to do, which I just don't think he's going to do even if he's healthy.
All right, some of the stuff that happened at Packers training camp today. Christian Watson, looking like good stuff from Christian Watson, had a touchdown in the red zone, which was good. Jordan Love, touchdown run on a red zone read option.
You like
Am
that?
I going to get my hopes up for this to see this in the regular season?
Probably not.
I don't think so either. I would love to get my hopes up that he's actually going to run the ball a little bit more. But that goes back to what we were saying. Are you putting him in harm's way of getting hurt? He's yet to start all 17 games in a season. We haven't seen that yet. And that's still what we're waiting for. So if he runs more, then you're potentially putting him in harm's way. Not talking about the running back. Tyrod, I told you, I'm not talking about that dude until he plays 2 full games.
You just said you wouldn't say his name.
Season.
You didn't say you wouldn't talk about him.
No.
Just that you wouldn't say his name.
No, I don't even know what he did. I just scrolled by him.
I didn't fell down on a non-contact play, but then got back up right away. Don't worry.
He what?
He went down on a non-contact
which would
play.
Be like a torn ACL most of the time or something.
Yeah, but then he got right back up and he was fine. I thought you'd want to know.
Oh, there is something impressive here. Now you made me. He scored a touchdown.
Yeah, there you go.
In the red zone.
And apparently he looked super explosive for the rest of the day. See, now you want to talk about him.
Again, coming out of college, he looked like an absolute stud. But he can't stay on the field for whatever the reason. So until he does, we're moving on. Tyrod Taylor with a touchdown to Luke Lachey. So that was good as well. Cisse looks like he looked okay today.
Started the day with the ones. That was a pretty important development. That was pretty cool.
In place of who? Oh, because Nixon was out.
Yeah, Keyshawn Nixon.
Yeah. Because Nixon was out. That's why he was able to do that. Again, these tight ends. Luke Lachey, Wiley is out there as well, right? So that's another tight end they can go to. Telling you, Luke Musgrave. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with your neck, and I hope it's nothing serious, and I hope you come back and you can play. But I'm sorry. Like, it's either you're in or you're out. And if you can't stay on the field, if they cut him, people would be livid. Like, oh my God, he catches everything for the most part. He can stretch the field.
I don't think people would be livid. I think most people know what he is and have been paying attention to this team too, and can see that he hasn't been on the field and that he doesn't have a lot of explosive play ability beyond just catching the ball.
I guess. Evan Williams with a pass breakup again. Like I said, Cisse, it looks like played pretty well as well. St. Juice was working with the twos in team. That was their free agent corner that they signed as well. Tyrod Taylor with another touchdown in the red zone. It'll be nice to have Tyrod Taylor from the aspect of having that veteran. Willie Adamas, was that foul? Ooh, I thought it was gone. I thought it was a 2-run homer from Adamas off Pannone there in the second, but it was foul. Adamas has to go back. Oh, it was short and foul. Oh, I thought it went over the fence when I looked up. So it's still nothing. Pannone with a runner on second for the Giants. Nobody out in the bottom of the second. McCord also in there doing his thing. The Syracuse quarterback threw a pick and threw a touchdown there at the end of practice. So that is your update on Packers training camp practice through day number 1. Lots and lots and lots more of that to come.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to pay attention. I think we shouldn't get your hopes up, but also don't be too low on anything. Don't just discard everything that comes out. Be able to pay attention to this and have your opinions without overreacting to it at the same time.
Every time, first of all, you know who you're talking to, so that's a dumb take. Secondly, I am going to get mad every time there's an injury. Just telling you now. Every time there's an injury, just be prepared for Sparky to get mad because I'm sick of him. Every year we go through this.
Trey Smack report every day too, just to see how he's doing. Keep you updated on that.
We can call it Smack It.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Isn't there a song we could use with that?
Probably. There's Whip It.
No, well,
you
I wonder if you could do like an AI version of Whip It, but instead of saying Whip It, you say Smack It.
Why do we got to do an AI version? I think we can.
Well, I don't trust you to do it.
Why not?
You think you can do it?
Tim Allen can do it. Tim Allen would definitely be able to do that for us.
We'll ask him on the post-game show, and we'll see if he can get that done for us. Coming up next, Jay Kocorowski, BadgerObserver.com. He was at Big Ten Media Days where Luke Fickell talked. We'll get his thoughts on everything Badgers and the Big Ten. Hey, want to score a free Wendy's Frosty Classic this summer? When the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, proud high A affiliate of Milwaukee Brewers, records 10 strikeouts in a game, you can go to any Wisconsin Wendy's to get a free small Frosty Classic. Follow the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers on X or Instagram as they post after every game with 10 strikeouts. This offer is good for 24 hours following the game. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily.
Stop talking about guys giving up home runs.
Susak hit a home run off of him. A 3-run home run.
Dead center.
Damn. 3-0 Giants over the Brewers. Now, where was I again? It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Charlie Usen over there. I'm going to make sure that we continue to promote this because this all got put together here a little while ago. Obviously, you know it's the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, right? So 93.9 The Game in Wausau, The Fan in Milwaukee, The Fan in Madison, Duluth Superior, 710 The Game there as well. And then in Green Bay, Appleton, 99.7 FM on WNFL there. Well, they have put together, WNFL has, Operation Valley Strong coming up on Friday and Saturday at the Festival Foods in Green Bay and Appleton on Friday and Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Festival Foods, Green Bay and Appleton. They have a supply list up on their website. So they're looking for food items like bottled water, Gatorade, dry goods, ready-to-eat meals, snacks, pet food for cats and dogs, personal hygiene stuff, cleanup and miscellaneous supplies. They have a whole list there that you can do as well. And they'll be collecting supplies throughout both days. 2 gigantic 12-hour shifts for those people that were affected by the tornado that tore through the Fox cities. 12-mile path. That is crazy. Winds up to 140 miles per hour. So if you are interested in donating and helping everybody, kind of get back up on their feet per se, it's going to be a long process, but obviously this would really, really help. Want more information? Check them out today at WNFLsports.com. Again, WNFLsports.com to find out more information on that. Again, Festival Foods, Friday and Saturday in Green Bay and Appleton from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Operation Valley Strong Food and Supply Drive. Be sure to be a part of that. Joining us now, there he is. Jake Kocorowski joins us. By the looks of it, you are not at Big Ten Media Days anymore. You are back in the comfy confines of your house. Of course, BadgerObserver.com. How are we doing today, Jake?
Good, a little tired. Busy day. Was up at like 5 and drove down to Chicago, and by 6 o'clock I was driving back. So it's didn't get back to about 9 o'clock, but it busy. It's a full day, and it goes quick at Big Ten Media Days. You don't realize it, but it's one of those things where you go and like at about 9:15 we sat down with Luke Fickell, a bunch of us local beat writers. It's kind of an annual thing where we all sit down and we kind of ask our questions. And but this time it happened in the beginning of the day, not at the end of the day. So we were able to get stuff writing and going that way. But then we also, but then you're writing, then you're trying to listen to Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner. You're trying to talk, you stop to listen to Brett Bielema. You stop and listen to, obviously Luke Fickell at the podium for the questions that's been asked. So, and then you have side podiums thereafter with, Fickell and then the players. You don't realize how quick it goes until it's 5 o'clock. You're like, oh yeah, I got to get my stuff done so I can drive home. But yeah, it was great. It's it's always fun getting down there. And I mean, granted, this year's in Chicago. It's been in Indianapolis before too. I think last year was in Las Vegas, but I didn't go because it's Las Vegas and pricey.
Yes.
But yeah, no, we got a lot more stuff coming at Badger Observer too from that.
Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things here, I guess. First, let's talk about the Wisconsin Badgers perspective and Luke Fickell. I talked about this yesterday, and it is crazy to me that as a university, you think $4 million on a roster is going to be good enough, considering what everybody else around you is doing. And obviously that puts you in the bottom of the Big Ten a couple of years ago. There's no way that you're going to convince me that they did not know how far away they were financially from everybody else in the Big Ten, right? Everybody talks. Assistant coaches talk with one another on the recruiting trail. Everybody has conversations. ADs, everybody talks. So you knew where you were. You chose to do nothing. Now, all of a sudden, after that miserable last season and potential jobs being on the line, now we decide to push chips in to make a big financial commitment to this thing. And the report out of The Athletic was a roster for football that could be valued at around $25 million, a gigantic step. What changed?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where, that they've embraced the current landscape of college athletics, right? And I think that's it's one of those things. I mean, I think that was in the Athletic article, right, where Luke was talking about that too. So it's one of those things where it's this is the nature of college athletics now. And it's part of college football. It's part of college basketball and whatnot too. So, I think that's one thing. And I think you started to see the fruits of that labor where you bring in someone like a Colton Joseph, who's going to be, could be a great, I'll say very good quarterback for this team. I still want to see more progression within the passing game, but I think he's going to provide abilities in the run game. I think, they shored up the defensive line. They remade the cornerback room. They added veterans in cornerback and safety too. So, and then, what they did with running back with Abu Sama, and then they also renovated the offensive line. So you saw the fruits of the labor, whatever happened, what their heads in the sand, the proverbial heads in the sand, all that was, while the adaptation of the game was ongoing. Now they're working to rectify it. And you saw with the 34 transfers signees that those came to be. And then you're also seeing a recruiting class right now that's hovering around the top 25 in the nation for the 2027 class, and there is an investment part of that too, after a 4 and 8 year. And it's going to be an investment regardless of your record to land some of these recruits too. There's obviously relationships with that too, but the money is a part of the equation now. So yeah, it's we'll see how it all goes coming up. Fall camp starts a week from tomorrow, and
do you think the financial investment is more paying for these kids in the portal than it is paying for recruits?
I would think so, just based off of trying to, I'm guessing with just how, trying to get a quarterback. Yeah, unless the kid is like a Bryce Underwood at Michigan, where, you saw some of the reports that were 8 figures. And be honest, how often do you, I always err on the side of caution when you see those reported numbers, because where are they coming from? Are they coming from a team source? Is it coming from an agent trying to show off? It's how accurate are those numbers? But if you take it for that report, that maybe one of those 5-star, day one starters as a freshman, that could be up there. But I would argue, especially with a quarterback, if you're paying money, you're talking, look at what Daria Mensah with Miami. You're looking at Sam Levitt with LSU, Brandon Sorsby before his debacle at Texas Tech. I would still say transfers for sure.
Okay, so then how real fair are these competitions when you get to fall camp? Because from Wisconsin's perspective, doesn't the high dollar player going to be given the first opportunity to go out there and play? If I've got $1 million at this position and I got $2 million over there and I got $1.5 million over there, and the guys behind these guys are making hundreds of thousands compared to, aren't the guys making more money going to play first because that's where you're spending the money? When we get to this point now, I start to question how fair really are the open competitions. Are they really open competitions? Are these guys behind them really just practicing and playing to be 3rd or 4th string and potentially get themselves to the portal, by being good in practice and so forth?
Yeah, a couple points on that in my eyes, where if you remember correctly too, with to me, what you just stated with that reminds me of just the whole scholarship player versus a walk-on. And we know Wisconsin's walk-on tradition is huge, where, I remember when I wrote the walk-on book, Walk On This Way, Amazon.com.
Good plug.
Yep. Nice plug.
Yep.
You have the, I remember players saying, I think it was Ethan Armstrong back in the day, former linebacker, saying, so I think it was maybe Bob Bostad that told him this of, hey, you're going to get maybe another assistant. Hey, you're going to get your shot at some point. You got to take advantage of it then. And I think that's kind of what I would do is kind of apply that to these days where, hey, people are getting paid. Yeah, I'm guessing they're going to get their shot. Yeah. If there's those coaches, players, if they're the ones that they recruited or they brought in through the portal, they obviously want to be right. And so they'll get, and so if you apply that, they'll get their fair amount of shakes and fair amount of reps to show that they're worth that money. What I'll also say too, though, and you talk about someone like Chris Brooks, the wide receiver, right? 5th-year guy, was there at was a Paul Christ recruit, and he's worked his way up. You can talk to him yesterday. There's a standard that it was kind of one of the messages of media days where, you had Chris Brooks talking about how they call him the dictator in his wide receiver room because he's telling them to hold to a standard of, hey, don't lay down, stand up, do that. So there's guys that are pushing each other and trying to hold themselves accountable. And you heard Luke Fickell talk about it ad nauseum about the leadership of, younger guys stepping up too, where they may not be transfer portal guys, but you have Cooper Catalano, Mason Posa, someone like a Kevin Haywood, who's, entering his third year. They're still technically younger guys compared to some of the older transfers they brought in too. So I think, obviously those guys, you bring those transfers in for a reason to make an impact. But it's also just some of it's also the culture that they're trying to reinstill of holding each other accountable and whatnot. And that's, culture's a big thing with it too.
Let's talk about talking with Jake Kocorowski, BadgerObserver.com. Go sign up and get that sent to you in your email all the time. Follow him on X at Jake Coco. Ted Kellner is quoted in that piece that they did in The Athletic. And he's the big white whale or whatever you want to call him for the money that's coming in to pay for NIL and everything else. And Ted Kellner, they should just call the university Ted Kellner University. He's been doing this for like 30 plus years or whatever it is now, him and his wife. Well, guess what? Like me, they're getting older. And as you get older, eventually things happen and, health goes and whatever else. My concern in all of this, if I were, running that Badgers athletic department and so forth, is who's my next white whale? Who is the next person or people that are going to carry us financially when the Kellners are done? Because that is coming sooner rather than later, more than likely, depending on how the health-wise goes for everybody involved, because they are older people at this point. Because if and when that time comes where it's like, okay, that's over, then who? Who then is that next person or group of people? That would be my number one priority right now. If I was a new AD coming in here, trying to figure out, okay, what do I have to do? To me, you've got to find that next person.
Yeah, I think that's part of the task for someone like Sean Eichhorst in this position, where he comes from Texas, obviously.
Well, stop.
Well, no,
He's a Barry Alvarez guy. That's the lead in all this. He's a King Barry guy. King Barry also getting old, but he's a King Barry guy. So he knows, I don't want to say this the wrong way. He knows where all the bodies are buried in Wisconsin and Madison, right? He knows he pretty much is connected with all the older group. He's known Kellner, all of that. They have the relationship, but you've got to find the young money. That's what he's got to find right now. You don't have oil guys sitting in your backyard like you do in Texas.
Right. When it comes to in terms of the oil money with like Texas Tech, Cody Campbell, that's why they're relevant with just the influx and his influence is what they've been able to do with NIL. And I've always respected Texas Tech as a program going back to the Mike Leach days, but now they've taken it up a level. Now they are the Big 12. I would say though, it's one of those things where Sean Eichhorst, I will counter your argument by saying with Eichhorst that if it's not for those 8 years at Texas, I don't think he gets the Wisconsin AD job. And so, with just what they were able to do, the Directors' Cups, the success there, obviously you've seen they've been able to compete in the NIL space. Now, Wisconsin and Texas, he said there's some similarities. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see just how the next strategy is when it comes to fundraising. And you mentioned it. I mean, we've all thought, but this is before NIL, that Wisconsin could compete with some of the, the teams. And that they're a little bit more, Wisconsin's got that kind of blue collar, in-state culture that they're, working hard and outworking people with, and whatnot. And so what I would say is, really it's with Eichhorst, I think there's a, good chance of him continuing to talk to people and find others. And quite honestly, they're going to have to, because like you mentioned, like just how much money can come from one person. I don't know that answer. And, but that's I'm guessing that's one of the things Eichhorst is going to have to address,
Absolutely. Up. Yeah, absolutely does. Again, Jake Kocorowski, check him out, BadgerObserver.com. Follow him on X. Jake Coco, Jake, quickly. Oh no, did we lose him?
I think we lost
He's
him.
gone.
Yeah.
That's okay. Jake Kocorowski, again, check him out, BadgerObserver.com. I believe they got a special going on. You can sign up for, and you pay a monthly fee and all of that. But I pay for it. I have it signed up, and you get damn near an email every day with all this great information on Badger sports. Definitely worth it. Check it out today, BadgerObserver.com. Charlie Sounds of the Day is coming up next, and don't forget, if you're looking for somewhere to get apparel for the company that you work for, or you're looking for outfits or not outfits, uniforms for your teams or whatever, Burkhardt Sporting Goods, right? Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, proudly outfitted by Burkhardt Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com. BSG1881.com. They do it for people all over the beautiful state of Wisconsin. They can do it for you as well. Again, BSG1881.com. Charlie Sounds of the Day coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen. Brewers down 3-1 to the Giants, top of 4 at Oracle Park. If you're just tuning in, Shane Drowan not starting today like had been expected. Pat Murphy and the Brewers decided to give him a few days of rest, so they essentially skipped his start in the rotation. And Pannone gets the first start of the year for him. They had him on the taxi squad with them in San Francisco. So I'm guessing they knew they were doing this on Monday. So then they officially make that deal today. Stallings gets sent down to AAA. And Pannone has done okay, but he had one bad pitch to Susak, the catcher, and that netted a 3-run homer. So they are down 3-1 right now. And Jake Bauers, boy, that's got to hurt. That's all I can think of. Jake Bauers with a triple just now, and all I'm thinking about is that foot of his.
Seems like that's all the broadcast is too, because they just pan down to it.
I cannot even. I mean, when you hit that ball, if you're Jake Bauers, you're going, well, this is gonna suck. like, why could that just been a base hit?
He was hustling still, though.
Dude, he was running hard.
He was smiling at the end, so it must not have hurt that bad.
He was probably smiling because he was out of breath and trying to breathe at this point. Now, again, here's Christian Yelich in that cleanup spot today with a runner on third. So here you go. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see if those numbers, he's hitting like 290 or so, or he was going into last night's game with runners in scoring position. That's why I was all about having him in that cleanup spot going forward. Again, nobody out. Just hit a sacrifice fly, score the run. You don't even need to get a hit.
Right.
Just drive the run in from third base and, mission accomplished. All right. It is that time of day to do this.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie Usen, where are we going?
We are going to foul territory first, where Jim Bowden was on the show, and he was saying the Brewers are the leaders to go and get Tarek Skubal.
So I'm being told that they are in on Skubal for sure, and I will say this. If he's traded, which I don't know, Scott Harris doesn't know. I don't know if he's going to be traded, but if he is, I will tell you this right now. I think the Brewers are the most likely landing spot. I'll rank them 1, Dodgers 2, Braves 3, Tampa 4 in that order. The Brewers farm system is as good as any team out there that's trying to get him. They also have so much depth. When you talk about the best prospect in baseball, Tezu Made, he's not going anywhere.
Thank you.
But they got Luis Pena too.
That's fine.
Who's 19 years old, has got a chance to be a superstar, and he'd be the number 1 prospect in most organizations.
Yep.
You can afford to deal him if you want to, because you have Made, you have Cooper Pratt, you have enough. You can give them a starter to go back in Brandon Sproat, who you picked up for Peralta, who was a rental. So no problem putting him back in.
Yep.
And then you can sweeten the pot with maybe Tyson Harden, the pitcher, maybe Andrew Fisher, the third baseman. You have enough there. And remember this, Mark Antanasio, the owner in 2008, made the deal for CC Sabathia, gave them a shot to win a World Series. They didn't do it, but gave him a shot. Mark Antanasio has told Matt Arnold, green light. Go do it. I'm ready. Here we go. So I think they're going to make a run at it. If he is traded, I give them as good a shot as the Dodgers and anybody else in getting him. And by the way, if I'm the Union, I want that to happen, right? I don't want Skubal going to the Dodgers if I'm the Union, have the Dodgers win again.
That's right.
If he goes to Milwaukee and wins and you have a Milwaukee-Tampa Bay World Series, good luck arguing for a hard cap. If Skubal goes to the Dodgers and they win the World Series, okay, no baseball in 27, and then I don't get to come on this show every week.
Yeah, that'd be 3 straight World Series by the Dodgers. Big problems. You know, the other thing I wonder?
What's that?
Do you think other owners are reaching out to the Dodgers going, don't you dare even think of this right now. You are going to screw all of us if you go do this. You have more than enough. Everybody's going to be ready for you in the postseason. Don't even think about it at this point, because you're going to screw the long-term health of Major League Baseball if you go win another one. So you can win it. I'm not telling you to throw it, but I'm telling you is you don't need the best pitcher to go along with everybody else that you have.
Aren't people going to still be mad no matter what if the Dodgers win it? Like,
sure.
I think that the only way
this is just, this is the cherry on top of the sundae. Right.
This would
you
suck
don't need
the
that.
most.
Yes, you don't need that. You want Tampa Bay or Milwaukee to get Skubal if you're the owners. That's what you want. Now, go back to what Bowden said. Couple things. Number one, Absolutely not on Fisher. Pena would suck, but I'm okay with that because, again, he doesn't have a future spot if you look at how this all plays out in the future. So that's okay, fine. You lose Pena, he becomes a superstar. It is what it is. You lose Sprout, definitely don't have an issue with that. And if you lose Harden, another pitcher that's been at AAA, I'm good with that. I'm not good with Fisher and Pena. That I'm not gonna be agreeable to that.
Pena and Burke,
maybe. You have Luke Adams still, so maybe. Or Fisher goes to first, Madej's your third baseman. So yeah, I can even get around that for the most part at this point. But this is not the same thing as when they got Sabathia. Let me point this out to you. They were not, I repeat, not going for a World Series. That's not what that was about. When Doug Melvin made that move for CC Sabathia, it was to end a 26-year playoff drought. That's what this was. This was them trying to sneak in and get in to make sure they were able to do it. Why? Because Ned Yost continued to choke away second halves for the Brewers the previous couple of years. So this time it was like, okay, we're going to make sure we get in this time. And guess what happened? They still almost choked the thing away in September. They had to fire Ned to play 500 ball for the last week or 2 weeks in order to get the damn thing done and have Dale Swayman bring Robin Yount out to be a bench coach to get it done. That's what that was. That wasn't, they want to win the World Series this year. No, it was, we want to bring the playoff drought because I'm the new owner and I want this stigma behind us. So from that perspective, it's not the same thing. You make this deal for Skubal, this is about trying to go win a World Series. That's what this would be. This is not about this team trying to get into the playoffs or not even trying to win a division. It's not even that. It's about winning the damn World Series. That's what it's about, Charlie.
Next up, we're going to hear from Badgers head coach Luke Fickell. This is from when he was talking with Pardon My Take of Barstool Sports. He was discussing why he wouldn't jump ship after 3 bad years in Wisconsin.
I do think that today's day and age, like when met with some of these situations and where college football is, not just players, but even coaches, when there's other opportunities and other avenues, some would tell you, like if you had this guy in your ear that you'd call an agent and be like, hey, we would really have a better opportunity if we would just kind of take this little avenue of something else that we could start. And like, you don't know what's best for me. You don't know what's best for my family. You don't know what's best for this program. And to me, that's where sometimes you got to quit listening to everybody outside and just kind of dive into yourself to say, hey, what am I willing to do and what are we willing to do?
Yeah. Are you a list guy? Did you sit down and do pros and cons? How'd that go?
In my head, I don't know that I literally wrote down. Like, I knew damn well what it was going to take. I knew damn well what you had to be committed to. And to say, hey, I need to write down a pro and a con, like that's what probably some agent or maybe my parents or somebody would say, hey, I heard that you could kind of think about this and take an escape route. Like, no, there's one way to do something and it's all in.
I hear that clip. And do you know what I hear?
What's that?
A coach that wasn't all in. That's what I hear. And with all due respect, we talked about stories about him not being at fundraisers or different events like that where they're expecting him and he just doesn't show up or he's late or whatever. And people getting mad about, dude, what is going on here? Like, you should be the guy there early, if nothing else, and shaking hands and kissing babies, trying to smooth for money and everything else. And that simply just was not happening. And then talk to some of the high school coaches around the state of Wisconsin too, and their thoughts on all of this. Yes, when he first got there, it was like, okay, he cares about the state. Okay, 300-mile rule. Okay. And then guess what happened? That disappeared, and away it went. Somebody, and I don't think it was McIntosh. I don't. I think somebody had a come to Jesus meeting with Luke Fickell and said, listen here, you're going to do this. That's cool. But we're going back to how we did things here. My guess is maybe it was Barry Alvarez that had to come to Jesus meeting, but somebody had to come to Jesus meeting with him and said, this is how it's going to be going forward. Either you're in or you're out.
Or like I said yesterday, maybe Luke Fickell and Chris McIntosh weren't as close as a lot of people thought they were in this situation. Maybe they were beefing with each other a little bit. Now he feels a little rejuvenated.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm just, hopefully Nets wins. That's all that matters. Green and Gold update up next. We'll hear from Brian Gutekunst, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Daily Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Yeah, there's been discussion. Yeah,
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
You know what I'm realizing? First thing I realized is that we are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The second thing I realize is I'm swearing on a more regular basis talking to Charlie every day.
It's not even my fault. Like, I do swear a lot when I'm not on air. I've done a remarkably great job.
No, he just gets me so fired up. It's not that, he does anything mean or anything. He gets me fired up and I start swearing left and right at him in a break. I'm amazed that I haven't sworn on the air in the last 2 years dealing with Charlie. So him and I were going back and forth. We'll get to Green and Gold update. So we're going back and forth, watching the Brewers game. They're still down, 3-2. And now they got Chad Patrick, and they pulled Pannone out. We're talking about this Scooble thing, because Jim Bowden was on in Charlie Sounds of the Day. So we're going back talking about this potential deal. And he lines it up as, okay, Luis Pena, number 2 in the Brewers farm system. And then he talks about Harden, pitcher that's at AAA for the Brewers. Okay. Brandon Sproat, obviously in the Brewers rotation, he would go. But he said Harden or Fisher, I guess was what he was saying. And I was telling Charlie, if I'm the Tigers, and again, just because I host the leadoff show doesn't mean I know everything. But I know this, that if I was the Tigers, knowing Churio, knowing Pena, knowing Madej, and looking at what's happening right now down at the lower level of the Brewers, you can keep Pena. I don't want that cat. I don't need Fisher. Don't need him either. You give me a starting pitcher that's in your rotation right now, Sproat, Gasser, whatever, one of them, so I can put it in my rotation in Detroit to replace Scooble. I would like that, some team control. Then I want your international guys. I want Antunes. I want Mones. I want Arias. I want those 3 guys on my team. going forward. Give me the 17 and 18-year-olds and then a starting pitcher to tell my fan base, look, we still care. But I got potentially 3 stars coming in 2 or 3 years that you all are going to love me for after Skubal is out of Milwaukee, because Skubal's not re-signing with the Brewers. I mean, that's the thing. If you're Harris with the Tigers and you're making this deal, if you trade him to the Dodgers or to the Cubs, right, or the Yankees, whoever, there's a chance he resigns there, and you're like, oh my goodness, he could win 2 or 3 World Series potentially wherever
he
he's
might
at.
end up there anyways. I don't know if you really
maybe
bother yourself with that.
But if you trade him to the Brewers and he goes there in free agency, well, that's out of your control.
Yeah,
but if you trade him to the Brewers and he's gone in 2 months, then Tiger fans are going to go, yeah, they didn't even get to the World Series with him, and we got 3 studs. We win the deal. It's not even close. But if he resigns there, right, and he ends up winning 2 or 3 World Series after that trade, even though they still had to re-sign him, I think you look at it completely different if you're a Tigers fan. Then you're like, oh my God, yeah, we got a couple really good players, but look at what we could still have right now. He'd be dominating for us right now, potentially. I think you look at it 2 different ways. But either way, that's what I'm saying. If I'm the Tigers, I want the 17 and 18-year-olds that right now, Acuna hit another home run. I think it was last night. There is no way that anybody is doing it as good as the Brewers in international scouting right now. They got like 3 or 4 guys that all can rake right now down there that are on their way.
Well, and I guess if I'm the Tigers, though, on the other side of things, can we develop those types of players that same way? Because they have
or Frias, not Arias. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you develop those players the same types of way? You have that reservation. Are the Brewers doing something different within their farm system that they're able to develop these guys to get to this point too? And that, they have a lot of raw talent, but can we bring that out? And then do you worry yourself with, okay, that's 3 years away. We're still in playoff contention. We think we are, at least. We can go out there and compete. If we're going to trade our best player, it's going to be for a package that can help us at least move forward in the next 1 to 2 years,
right,
and still be competitive.
From the 414, Brewers would hang up that phone if they gave up that many international prospects.
As I think the Brewers find the most value in those guys, and that's why they have those guys in the first place.
They're so stacked. Like, you don't even understand. We're sitting here, we're talking about some of these guys that you don't want to lose, like Adam Shefsky and Payne and Ragsdale and these outfielders. But they've got so many bats coming, man. Like, that one area right now where you're like, you don't see a ton of pitching coming, if we're being honest, right? You don't see a ton of guys that are like, oh man, that's the next Miz that's coming. You know, you have Wagner at AAA, who's a reliever right now, at least, but you don't have those flamethrowers that are coming in the farm system. Bats, you got a ton of bats that are coming potentially at a high level. And again, remember, you got Churio at $10 million a year, whatever else. We'll see what these other guys are going to get as they're coming through the farm system. I mean, it could be Team Venezuela or Team Dominican Republic before this whole thing is said and done for the Brewers in, say, 5 or 6 years.
Hey, that'd be all right. They
Hell
just won
yes.
the World Baseball Classic, so
that would be great. I'm all for it, man. Do what you got to do. They are just absolutely so good at what they do right now. It's awesome.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay, let's get to some of what Goody had to say. So this is the first one. Now, if you follow along with Brian Gutekunst, you really don't get to hear a lot of Brian Gutekunst throughout the football season, do you? No. And in the offseason, you really don't get to hear a lot of Brian Gutekunst. You get end of year, you get the draft, and then you wait forever. And then in the season, you don't get a lot of Brian Gutekunst either during the regular season. So when Brian Gutekunst talks, you kind of want to listen to what he says. Now, one of the main topics we brought up the other day was with Andy Herman from the Pack a Day podcast. We brought up, hey, man, look, you got all these young defensive linemen working out with Micah Parsons. Are any of these guys going to take that next stop and become a really good pass rusher? He said Aaron Sorrell was his guy. He thinks Sorrell could be that guy that's lined up to maybe take that next step. And as Charlie pointed out, there was no Van Ness working out with him, at least not that we've seen in pictures or videos. So Goody was asked about these young edge rushers.
Yeah, they were a lot of those guys did some really good things this spring, but we're not in pads, right? So it's always tough to try to evaluate those guys when they're not in pads too much. So as the pads come on, as we get into the physical part of it, just the consistency, kind of winning with bull rushes, kind of winning with power. But I'm pretty bullish on that group. I think it's there's enough guys in there that's going to create some pretty good competition. And so yeah, I'm excited. We've put some resources into that over the last couple of drafts. So we got some young guys that I think are eager to further opportunities, and excited to see what they're going to be able to do this year.
I don't know if I would say there's pressure on those guys necessarily one way or the other, but I think what I would say is there's a huge golden opportunity without Micah Parsons for the first 5 or 6 weeks. Matt Shepman of The Athletic is saying he thinks it'll be the Cowboys game when he comes back. So Micah wouldn't be back in time for the Bears game. Now, again, I think this is potentially guessing, but not back for the Bears game, but back in time to play the Cowboys, which darn right well he's not missing the Cowboys game. But now you get your opportunity to go, okay, let's just see how good you guys can be, because you're going to get a lot of reps because Micah's not going to be on the field. And we all know about Lucas Van Ness. So here you go. Go prove yourself between now and the time Micah comes back, and whoever proves themselves the most gets the most snaps once Micah comes back. This is a big, big opportunity, I think, for these guys.
I think it's huge. I think that this team and this defense in general, not even just the pass rushers, but just the defense, you got to be able to come out and set a little bit of a tone, at least in these first 5 weeks without Micah Parsons. I know it's going to be important for the offense to go out there and do that, but this defense has to at least hold water, and you can't go out there and start letting water into the ship and then hope that Micah Parsons is going to come back and be your savior again. Because again, if he has to put the backpack on for another season, that risk of injury is only going to rise.
No doubt. Absolutely agree. Goody also got into talking about the Devontae Wyatt extension.
Devontae, quite frankly, every time we've given him opportunities and snaps, he's produced, particularly as a pass rusher. And I think he really grew as a run defender since he's been here. Obviously, he's had some health things where he hasn't been able to stay healthy as much as we would have liked. But when he's been in there, he's been very, very impactful. He was on a fifth-year option. Was something we wanted to do. We wanted to extend him. It helps our cap a little bit, too, by doing that. So, again, that was something I think coming out of even with the injury coming out of the season last year, we felt we were going to do.
Clearly, they thought that's what they were going to do. Clearly, they had no intention of paying Quay Walker. Remember, that was the whole big thing. Oh, my God, they're doing this for Wyatt, and they're not going to take care of Quay and how this whole thing plays out. So Wyatt gets the extension. He says he's taking advantage of every opportunity, but he has to stay on the field. That's still the thing, like every other Packer player. Like, you have to show that you can stay on the field and be healthy. And we talked about earlier of as far as, okay, so what's the next step for Devontae Wyatt? You paid him. So do you expect Kenny Clark-like production from Devontae Wyatt? I think you do.
I think you expect...
Not last year of Kenny Clark, but Kenny Clark, like in his prime, doing Kenny Clark things. That's what I'd be talking about. Not his last year in Green Bay, but overall.
I think from the way the Packers coaches and front office have talked about him, that you should expect more from Devontae Wyatt, especially as a pass rusher. I think he should be able to go out there and give you a nice second or third option to whoever is going to be on the field as that secondary bull rush type of guy in the middle of the defense. That should help you out a lot, and it seems like the Packers seem pretty confident in that.
All right, let's check this out. Goody talking about left tackle Jordan Morgan.
I thought he had a great spring. I mean, we're going into practice one, so we got a lot of work to do as a team. So, but I got a lot of confidence in him. And I think hopefully keeping him in that one spot, will allow him to progress a little bit quicker. But he had a great spring, so we're excited about him.
Had a great spring. Earlier, he talked about, the young edge rushers, they had a great spring. And then he said, but they didn't have pads on. Now here we are with Jordan Morgan. You yourself, Charlie Usen, said, as we're watching the play-by-play, even of that coming in, Jordan Morgan getting beat here, Jordan Morgan getting beat there. And you're like, dude, it's impossible to play that position when you're in shorts. Right?
It is. Yeah. And I think.
So how do you judge if somebody is good or not if there's no pads on?
You look at their just the overall technique of a lot of these players, especially with Jordan Morgan at left tackle. you're looking to see, can he adjust from what he was able to do at guard, at right tackle? Is he transitioning a lot of those skills, a lot of those techniques? Well, I think as you get into these periods, even though they are not padded, they are more intense. I think overall training camp practices in general, you have to be able to, as an offensive lineman, go out there and technique wise be 100%, but also show that you can be aggressive even without the pads on, and show that you can be that type of player to hold down that spot at left tackle.
He's Charlie Usen, see Sparky Pfeiffer with you. It's Sparky Pfeiffer with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Goody also got in and talking about Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, very much a possibility. In fact, I anticipate, him being out there sooner rather than later. The more work he can get with Jordan, particularly even when maybe he's not ready for the team part of it, the more individual work he can get done with Jordan is going to be important for him as he heads into the season. So we've had a lot of discussions about that and the timing of that. And, obviously we want to be protective. He's coming off a major injury, and he's still about that 8.5 month mark. But by the way he looks, you think he's ready to go. Because when you see him out there, it's a little bit like Christian. Those guys just, they look really, really good early. But there's a lot of science behind the 9-month mark. And so we'll be very cautious as we head into it.
I don't know necessarily if the science behind the 9-month mark is something that I'm completely all in on. I think it's a good baseline to say, okay, after 9 months, you're good to go play, right? If you have a torn ACL, whatever. I think it's a good baseline. But at the same time, I think if you're a person that is trying to figure out to clear somebody or not clear somebody and so forth, everybody is different in how their body heals and at the rate their body heals and adjusts. And in my mind, look, man, if the dude's passing all of his tests, dude's got no soreness, he's cutting, he's making all the moves, everything looks fine, and you go, 9 months is 2 weeks, we're going to wait. I'm pretty sure I'd be livid if I was the player going, there's nothing wrong. I'm not sore. I have no pain. All my tests are perfect. Let me please go play. And the Packers go, we're going to wait. Meanwhile, same Packers team does the nonsense that they've done for the last 2 or 3 years with Jair Alexander and others, running guys out there that shouldn't be run out there, and then they get hurt again. They don't want to play cautious that way. But in this instance, with this specific injury, now we're going to play it as conservative as possible, which again, if that's your choice, so be it. If that's what you think keeps them healthy going forward, for the remainder of that year by giving them those extra couple, 2-3 weeks, even though they may be ready to go, fine. But I would like that type of caution then displayed on other injuries as well versus running guys back out there and seeing them get hurt almost immediately, especially when Charlie and I are sitting here on the radio warning, red flagging, what are we doing? You're going to get them hurt again. And then when they get hurt, everybody's like, well, how could you have known? Oh my God. Right? You could justify it for the last 2 years on this show. We've been calling stuff.
It's been kind of insane what Matt LaFleur has, and the way he handles the situation too. I think post when people are asking him questions about it, it's just always kind of putting it on. Well, this is how he told us he felt. We're just sending him back out there to again have this type of caution. Now all of a sudden is a little frustrating, and also that I think with these players in the past, each situation is different, and that this may just be a different kind of situation. That's why they want to be more cautious than they typically are in the past, but also that those guys had their money. They are getting paid at this point, that you want to make sure you still get the most out of the guys that you're paying and guys at key positions and key spots in the season. This isn't a key spot in the season. This feels like it's a point where you need to be able to be a little bit more cautious when guys are already getting hurt. Otherwise, this is a spot where you have to go and say, we need to change what we've been doing in the past and go into the season as healthy as possible.
Speaking of Tucker Kraft, then comes the question of Brian Gutekunst earlier today about a potential extension for Tucker Kraft and if there's any urgency.
Yeah, there's been discussions, and certainly I think it's, both us and him, it's in best interest to try to get something done, but these things take time. And, we've gone through a bunch of a bunch of extensions this summer, kind of knowing this was going to be the one right about now. We have a little bit of time because he's just not there yet, but I would expect hopefully that would get done. But you never know how they're going to go.
Matt Schneidman, The Athletic, said on Pat McAfee that don't be surprised if he's the highest paid tight end in the next couple of weeks. To which my response was, why? Now, I am not sitting here telling you that I don't think he could be the best tight end in the NFL. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't think that he wasn't the best tight end in the NFL when he got hurt, because Charlie and I were having that conversation. We're like, damn, man, maybe he's just the best guy right now. The way he's playing, he was balling out prior to getting hurt last year, but he hasn't done it for a full year. And this is the thing that we consistently over and over again talk about, whether it would be with the Brewer players or with the Packer players. Christian Watson, they paid that dude. Now, that contract is a steal if he actually does stay healthy for a year and shows out. If he plays 14 games a year, then that's probably right where he should have got paid. But if he plays 17 games a year and becomes, 8 to 10 target guy, they stole him. Like that, he got fleeced on that contract. The Packers won. I don't think they're going to be able to do that to Tucker Kraft. I could be wrong. I don't think they're going to be able to. So if Schneidman is saying, hey, man, he might be the highest paid for a guy that's never done it for a full season at that level, you better be right that his knee is good and is going to be okay going forward if you're going to commit that type of money. Because right now, you got over $50+ million committed to a quarterback and a pass rusher. And now you're going to decide, I'm going to go the other position. I'm going to go try and make the highest paid in the NFL is the tight end position. Not potentially left tackle if Jordan Morgan is actually really good, and that's probably the second most important position on the team behind the quarterback position is your blindside protector for your quarterback. You're not going to go there and do it, but you're going to go to the tight end position and take care of Tucker Kraft. Again, if healthy and he does what he does last year, it's a stud. It's a no-brainer. Makes all the sense. But you always have to figure out in your mind, where is my pool of money going at each position? And if I put all this money at tight end, what does that leave me at other positions? And where will sacrifices be made? And there will be sacrifices made if you go give him a gigantic contract when you already have Parsons and Love under a gigantic contract.
I think the benefit is that tight end right now is just not a very highly paid position, and that you can try to get ahead of the market before anybody else gets a super huge contract as well. But to your point, it's not only just Jordan Morgan. If Evan Williams goes out there and has a great season again, you eventually have to start thinking about paying him or letting him walk or trading him in a situation like that. Jaron Cooper is a player that you have to think about paying at some point here, especially if he takes the all-pro jump that a lot of people feel like he can this season. I think there's a lot of pieces right now that you as the Packers have to look forward 3-5 years and say, how do they fit into our plan? And is tight end the biggest piece of our plan? I think what we saw last season, the offense looked phenomenal with Tucker Kraft as one of the main pieces of that offense. And that, yes, Christian Watson, a guy that you also paid this offseason, when he came back, helped elevate the offense, but I don't think to the same level that Tucker Kraft did. I think they recognize that, and we'll see if he comes and plays in week 1, which they're hoping for. That's what he's hoping for. They're working out with Jordan Love all the time. That's what they're saying. This is a huge deal that if he can come back and be healthy, to lock him in so that you don't get outpriced.
Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. 2,000 square foot center screen. Over 30 sporting events at once. 2 different levels right there for you to enjoy whatever sports you're watching. They have UFC fight nights there, all kinds of different sports. They had obviously all the big soccer matches were on there. All the baseball games are on there. Day baseball, right? Maybe you're a second shifter, a third shifter. Third shifter probably would make more sense. And you want to go watch day baseball, lay down a couple of bets, man, go do it at Potawatomi Sportsbook, right? Hang out there, do it. Full kitchen menu right there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, including you have a all-day brunch, steak, pancakes, you name it. They got it going on. 40 different beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails, homemade pastries, and desserts that are made each and every day at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Good stuff there, too. Always, always, always remember to reserve your seat ahead of time. Now, they're not going to be busy 24/7 necessarily, like at 3 a.m, probably not packed. But a lot of times, they're going to be busy at night, and they're probably going to be busy on the weekends. Always, always suggest reserving your seat ahead of time. Yes, it goes towards your food and beverage costs, so you get that money back technically anyhow. Because like if you're going to drop $40 or $50 to have a meal and a couple of beverages or whatever, then that money you put down to reserve your seat, just that money goes towards your food and beverage. So really, it's not costing you anything at the end of the day. And you have a seat or a table, whatever, or a booth, whatever you're trying to reserve. Go to Potawatomi.com. Again, that's Potawatomi.com. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. Mr. Optimistic. I'm telling you.
I do what I can.
To be in your 20s. It's just an amazing thing. It really is. Like, y'all are just so happy and free caring. And Yelich with a base hit. Yes! There you go, Yelly. 2 outs, nobody on, but he gets the base hit. Who cares how he got
auditioning for his new team. Of course.
Stop.
The trade I was trying to put together.
He's trying to send Yelich to the Giants, and then you take on a bad contract with Arias to get Arias here, and you get rid of Yelich. Yeah, but the bad contract you take on for that would be longer.
Chapman,
right, but those are longer-term deals than Yelich, because Yelich only has 2 years left.
Yeah, but that's part of
Detmers, you're going to be in bed with Detmers forever.
But also Devers has in the recent past, been an all-star caliber player, been an MVP almost at points. Like, he has a super high ceiling that if you feel like you can work that out, you can make something happen with that.
I'm not convinced that dude cares. I'm sorry. I'm not there. Joining us now, a guy that reached out yesterday on the Nicolay Law talk and text line, because we were on the air and we were talking about the horrible tornado that went through Menasha in the Fox Cities area, and trying to figure out what we can do. What can we do to help and so forth when you see these horrible videos and pictures and everything else. And my guy, George Van Schindel from the fire department in Menasha reached out, and him and I had a phone conversation earlier, and I was like, we should get you on to talk more about this. George, thanks for coming on. You're on the guest hotline powered by Guru Law. One call, that's all. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, you bet, Sparky. How we doing today?
Doing all right, man. So since we talked, our sister station at WNFL in Green Bay, who is, of course, a part of the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, they've come together and they've put together a little something called Operation Valley Strong, and at Festival Foods in Green Bay and Appleton, coming up on Friday and Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they're going to do a food and supply drive, and they're looking to have a whole list on their website. Again, it's WNFLsports.com. They've got food items, personal hygiene items, cleanup and miscellaneous supplies, and 2 12-hour shifts Friday and Saturday at the Festival of Foods in Green Bay and Appleton. That obviously is a good start, but you're there. Obviously, you've been through all of this, so kind of just walk us through like how this has really been the last couple of days.
Yeah, so I am with Neenah Menasha Firefighters, and obviously we're still in the very early stages of it. There's still just an unbelievable amount of cleanup just to open up roadways and making sure power lines, gas lines, all kinds of things are stable. After the tornado ripped through, it took out a lot of buildings, numerous buildings, but it also left a lot of buildings unstable. So now we're dealing with, the aftermath of that, and constant, everything changes and shifts. But if I could just, to our local audience, if I could spread a message, please don't come up and drive through the city of Menasha just to gawk and to look. The streets are really, really tight. There's a lot of areas that we can only get UTVs and ATVs in to respond to calls. And like we had a gas leak today in which there's just a lot of people on the roadways. And so please, if you don't live in the area, please do not come through and just drive through to look. The outpouring of support that we've gotten, both cities, Neenah and Menasha, has just been unbelievable. The day into the night and the next day that it happened. So the city of Menasha water treatment plant got hit really hard. And so basically Menasha, they're getting help with their water, but the water system is low. And so the amount of support that we've gotten from other fire departments and cities throughout the state is just absolutely, it's just unbelievable, the support. And so we just want to really say thanks to all those people and cities and communities who've reached out. But you see these things on TV or the news and you're just like, wow. But when it happens and you see it firsthand, it is unbelievable, the amount of damage.
What is, I guess my first question would be, like, do you go through training like this? Like, hey, man, if we have some type of natural disaster, this is going to be our steps of how we're going to respond to it type deal as a firefighter unit?
Yeah. So, I mean, we get a wide variety of training. I mean, obviously, when people think of firefighters, they think of just going in, burning buildings.
Yep.
In reality, and nowadays, in today's day and age, we definitely still go into burning buildings, but the vast majority of what we do is such a wide variety of obstacles. And so you kind of just take the training that you get on an everyday basis, and I mean, you put it all together. We have great experience between our firefighters, our captains, our chiefs, and you hope that, I mean, you figure it out along the way. Like something has to be done, right? So if you don't have the exact perfect answer, you work together and you find a way to get things done.
So you get the initial calls coming in, talking with George Van Schindel of, again, Menasha and the Neenah Fire Department joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. A tornado goes through, and now I'm assuming the 911 calls are just not stopping. And now you're having to figure out, okay, yes, we have to go try and potentially rescue people from houses and everything else, but you really can't even get to anybody all that fast based on the video I saw with all these power lines and poles lying all over the street like somebody was playing pickup sticks.
Right. So at first, it's absolute chaos. The dispatch center, Winnebago County, was overwhelmed with calls. And so basically, again, this leads back to the experience and stuff from our chiefs and our management staff. They formed an operations center, again, pulling people from Appleton, Green Bay, Oshkosh, all to help. And so we kind of had our own dispatch center along with Winnebago County because the system was just overwhelmed. I mean, I think at one point there was 200 calls backed up in the log.
Wow.
And so you some of the calls are the same calls, but it kind of gets prioritized, by what seems to be most important. And you just start picking away. And this is where then all of our support from the other municipalities came in, because we use them to search certain houses along with our personnel. And you rely on a lot of help from a lot of good people.
When we talk about the damage that was done, I said earlier in the week, and I don't know if you heard me or not, but the fact that this happened in the middle of the day was very, very beneficial to saving lives, I think, versus if this thing happens at 2 or 3 in the morning. Were there any fatalities along the way through this thing?
Well, I am not, I'm not exactly 100% sure. I don't want to speculate. Like you had said, I heard you say that on the air, and most definitely when it came in at noon or, middle of the day, that, as horrible as it is, that was about as good of time as it could have happened, because the amount of injuries and things were drastically less, like you're saying. We still had a lot of people trapped, a lot of people that we went in and assisted, but it definitely, it could have been worse.
What about those people that essentially lost their homes or have holes in the roofs and can't live in their homes and so forth? Is there enough shelter set up? Because I would assume there's a lot of businesses that said, okay, we'll take people into the church here. We'll take people into our gym. Because, again, it's summer. So, I'm assuming all these schools have areas where they can take people.
Right. So if I could, I'd direct you guys to Volunteer Fox Cities. And it gives all that information. It's a really good website. Also, the Facebook pages of the cities of Menasha and Neenah have all that information. Is that if anyone needs any help, there are definitely shelters in place, and there's organizations that are helping as much as they can. But the websites and the Facebook pages would be more information than I can provide.
That's great. So again, Volunteer Fox Cities, you want to check that out. And again, Operation Valley Strong, WNFL is putting this on. Of course, one of our many affiliates here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. It's coming up for the Fox Cities Tornado Relief, July 31st and August 1st at the Festival Foods in Green Bay and Appleton from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, on Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They have a list of supplies that they're looking for. All you got to do is go to WNFLsports.com. Again, WNFLsports.com. WSD.com to get more information there. And 12 hours on Friday, 12 hours on Saturday. That's 24 hours of collecting supplies. And hopefully everybody steps up in a big, major way and we can help as much as possible. And then you also, George, sent me a link that I just saw here a couple minutes ago. And I'm assuming I can just post that to social media then so people can donate through the American Red Cross that way?
Yeah, that would be great. That is an organization that I believe works with the Red Cross. That's where they sent me. And I know there's a link right on there talking about the storm damage and how to help.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's Volunteer Fox Cities as well. George, man, thanks so much for coming on. And if you guys eventually get to putting something together up there and want some help promoting or whatever the case may be, George, we are here for you on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network in any way we can be.
That's very kind. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, George Van Schindel, joining us from the Menasha and Neenah Fire Departments here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, right there on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. As I've said before, when those annoying alarms or sirens go off on your phone, or your favorite program gets interrupted and you're mad, Luke Sampe, meteorologist in Green Bay, posted on X this person just livid that he was on the air talking about everything that was going on in their backyard, their area. He wasn't on talking about what's going on in Wausau or what's going on in Milwaukee. It's literally in their backyard. Just livid that, that person couldn't watch your show. And I guarantee you, it's very common all over the country. Whenever you have something like this, people are like, it's a severe thunderstorm. Who cares? Let me go back and watch, the Brewers game or whatever the case may be. And y'all need to check yourselves a little bit here, because what happened there could very well happen where you live. Whether you're in Duluth, Madison, Kenosha, wherever. It could happen to you. Wausau. You could be the next one to have to go through something crazy like this. And all of us hope we don't have to go through something like this. But when we do go through something like this, the hope is everybody rallies and helps pick up the community and helps to rebuild the community in any way they can. And that's why I'm looking at you, Green Bay Packers, waiting for your to raise your hand and say, we got you. We'll come help. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe they've done it privately. Maybe it's not public. Don't know. But I'm waiting for the Green Bay Packers and Ed Policy to do something, because y'all need to do something, whether it's financial or whatever. Financial is probably the best way to do it. But somebody needs to step up and get involved over there and help out as many of these people as possible. So there's my 2 cents. Do you have anything to say on it, Charlie?
You nailed it, Sparky. You got it.
Well, thank you. It's the only thing I've nailed in 2 years of working with Charlie was that.
That's
right
not
there.
true.
And it wasn't even sports related. So I got
That's
that going.
not true. You've nailed one or two other things.
You can't even think of one. Now, coming up next, things that we missed on today's show, and the show's not ending. We're going to go all the way up to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with the franchise Tim Allen. Right now, it is. I'll just wait for the Giants runs to score, and then I'll tell you how many they have. The only two score?
Only one more.
Only one more. 4-2. Patrick and Ashby. Patrick started this inning, didn't he?
He
the
did,
sixth?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And now Ashby is in, and he's giving up hits. So it's 4-2 now. Giants, bases still loaded, still nobody out in the sixth. That was just a ground ball that found a hole between shortstop and third base. But, so 4-2. So once that game is done, Tim Allen, myself, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. All right. Things that we missed on today's show, which will feature Matt LaFleur, who talked earlier today. That's coming up on Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Summer's better with a Frosty in your hand. For a limited time, Wendy's is giving you a sweet deal on your favorite summertime treat. A small classic Frosty for only $1. That's right. Summer should be fun, not expensive. Treat yourself and celebrate $1 Frosty summer at Wendy's. But hurry, this deal's over when the summer's gone. So get it while it's hot, or, cold. Habish, and Rotier plead the Fifth Fridays every Friday at 4:20. Your chance to tell somebody just to hush it up. You're embarrassing yourself. Just plead the Fifth. We'll get into that coming up on Friday. Of course, you can always nominate somebody on Friday at 4:20, calling or throwing. I just watched an out that should have been happened at the plate, and Gary Sanchez stupidly dropped the ball and cost the Brewers a run. Watch this. A ground ball, first baseman picks it up, throws home, he has it, and then drops the ball.
Hold on to the ball, dude.
And drops the ball.
That's
Arias slid into him, not hard, and simply dropped the ball. He had plenty of time.
He was losing it already. He put his hand on top of the glove.
He tagged him in the belly. He didn't even get hit by the helmet or foot.
He didn't have a good grab on it in the first place. Again, he immediately covered with his other hand to try to come across and then lost it as he let go.
Ashby got one out that entire time he was in the game. Ooh. Now they got to bring Bryce Wilson, and it's 8-2, bottom of 6. That's not good.
At least they scored 2 runs this time.
Not good. All right, talking about Habish, and Rotier, helping injured Wisconsinites since 1930, 13 different locations all over the state of Wisconsin, right there in your backyard where you live. All you got to do is check them out online at habish.com. The great thing I like about them, national reputation, obviously they win a lot of cases. Okay, that's good, right? Because you want to go somewhere that wins cases. You don't want to go to hey, we're the biggest loser in the state of Wisconsin. You don't want to go to that lawyer. So the national reputation makes you feel good that, you're going to do good. But the hometown service part of this, that's the most important part, because the hometown service part is, look, these are approachable lawyers. When you walk in, they're going to treat you like you're a friend or a family member, and they're going to listen and they're going to bust their tail ends to make sure you get what you deserve. So many times you go to a lawyer, you walk out and you're like, did that person really listen to anything I had to say? Because I feel like I was talking to the wall based on the responses I was getting. I don't think they really listened to anything I said. And you feel like disrespected or slighted or whatever, like that was a complete waste of time. Like, what are we doing? That is something that they do not want you to ever feel when you deal with Habish, and Rotier. Check them out today. Again, habish.com. And of course, plead the Fifth Fridays every Friday at 4:20 in the afternoon. Now we're not going to have time to play Matt LaFleur. So we'll just have to wait on Matt LaFleur. And we'll get to Matt LaFleur coming up here in a little bit. Hey, don't forget, if you miss anything that happened on today's show, simply text Sparky, Sparky, to the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line at 414-677-1250 to get the link to today's show. Again, Sparky to 414-677-1250 to get the link to today's show. Only have a couple minutes left here at the top of the hour, and then we'll hear from Matt LaFleur coming up in the next hour. And then also, if you missed Tim Dillard yesterday or Paul Wagner, both of those guys were on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network yesterday. And we'll have the opportunity for you to hear both of those guys as well. Both pretty good interviews. Dillard, a little off path because of me in the beginning part of the interview.
I cut off in the sunglasses part, so I can re-add the sunglasses part if you'd like me to.
Sunglasses part was like the best part of the whole interview. No, I'm joking.
It was an all right part of the interview.
Dude, seriously, I don't know
you
why.
You seemed way more excited about those sunglasses than Tim.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Wilson came in because he just gave up a double to the corner at least. It may be a triple. They're just running and running and running and running. Good Lord.
Joey Ortiz, get up on the mound, baby. That's what's next.
10-2 now in the 6th. You know what? I was going to read this text from earlier. Let's see. How long ago was this? I just realized I missed a whole bunch of prospects or a whole bunch of text messages here. I'm sorry. I apologize. Where is it? Oh, here we go. This was like an hour ago. It was like whatever it was. It was a 3-1 game, 3-0 game. And this person texted in from the 262 and said, this is going to be a double-digit loss for the Brewers. We should all hit up Kelsey to see if there's odds that a Brewer position player pitches in this game. That was over an hour ago. This was a 3-2 game for the most part, and now that guy might be right.
Yeah, that guy might be
girl,
rich.
Whoever that is. And if there was odds on Kelsey to potentially hit a position, have a position player pitch, this dude might get rich.
Yeah, okay. Joey Ortiz, start warming up, baby. Christian Yelich?
No.
Who do you want to throw?
You.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I could strike something out, man.
I don't care who throws. Back after this.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
We're going to have Andrew Vaughn at third base.
Or Andrew Vaughn pitching.
Because Vaughn isn't Vaughn hitting for Hamilton here?
Yes, I believe so.
No, don't tell me Andrew Vaughn's pitching. But Andrew Vaughn at third base could be fun. I'd like to see Andrew Vaughn at third base. He had a rough go yesterday at first base. So maybe we'll try at third base today and see what happens.
But then if he pitches, we can talk about him being like the next Shohei Ohtani.
I do not want a position player pitching. I know you enjoy that.
That's what's going to happen.
It should be banned and outlawed for baseball. Like, it simply should not be allowed to happen.
Who's left to throw out to the Wolves? Like, throw-outable guys. Because they already put Bryce Wilson. I guess they just let Bryce Wilson go.
finish. Right. Yeah, you just let Bryce Wilson finish.
He too, man.
Yeah,
like,
you
just take him out.
Just let him go in there and finish it. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So,
you know who's pitching? It's going to be Jake Bowers. They're putting Andrew Vaughn at first base and bring Joey in at third. That's what's going to happen because Jake Bowers has pitched in the past. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what happens. But you've got 6 outs to get, providing you don't tie or take the lead by the time the bottom of the 9th comes. You're down 8. Wouldn't that be an epic comeback? They come back and win this 11-10. Oh my goodness gracious. That would be amazing.
Talk about me being positive.
Yes, correct. Hey, I got some text messages we got to pick up on here on the Nicolay Law Talking text line. We're way behind. Scotty Tiffany, I'm doing great today. Training camp starts. Brewers play at a reasonable hour. It's not going well, though. And it's my birthday, along with Dak Prescott and Fernando Alonso. Not bad for a Wednesday. Happy birthday, Scotty Tiffany.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah,
thanks for listening to us on your birthday.
That's very good. I said earlier that Corey Ray never got to the big leagues. Dad in Delafield would like to point out he did have 2 at-bats for the Brewers.
Okay, there you go. Exactly.
So he got
Put
2 at-bats.
Respect on his name, Sparky.
Does that really count? Did 5 people see it? I mean, I don't know.
He didn't get another MLB at-bat after that, though.
I obviously have never had an MLB bat, so that's 2 more than I had or Charlie had.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
There is that for Corey Ray, so that at least is positive.
And he has a lot of AA homers for some reason, so that's more than me and you too.
Correct. Kalshi, we talked about that earlier. About somebody texted in and said, "Man, go to Kalshi and bet on a position player to pitch," and it was only like 3-1 or something like that at that point. I was like, "That's crazy." And now here we are, and it may actually happen. That person is Vinny the Book. Any idea who that is?
I don't. That's a new one.
Vinny the Book was a texter about Kalshi. I guess I should leave my name as I'm a longtime listener and especially post-gamer. Sorry, I'm not a good caller, Sparky. I get too fired up. That's a great caller. What are you talking about? You just don't swear. As long as you don't
maybe
swear.
That's what he means by gets too fired up.
As long as you don't swear, man. That's totally fine. MKE Scott says, why does San Francisco have our number? What are the win-loss numbers in the last few years? I can pull that up for you, I believe, because those have been in the Brewers notes here for the last several days. And you're right. They didn't play well there last year. They're under 500 in general. I just got to find them. Oh, here they are. In general, they're under 500 against San Francisco.
89 and 109 all time versus the Giants. In San Francisco, they're 39 and 55 all time, 34 and 51 at Oracle Park.
Right. So yeah, not good. Regardless of what it feels like, they're simply not good. And the other part about this too is, and whether you believe it or not to be true, in my lifetime, teams from the Midwest rarely play really good in West Coast trips. It just is what it is. Same with East Coast teams going to the West Coast. Now, for whatever the reason, I don't feel like it's reciprocal. We're like, when the Dodgers take a road trip through Chicago and Detroit and Milwaukee and Minneapolis and Cleveland, I don't feel like they struggle the same way as the teams in the Midwest do when they go out west. Like, I swear to God, my whole life I've watched this. Go to LA to play the Angels and just get whooped, regardless of who's on the team. You just struggle with time change and whatever else. Now, this game here today, if we're being honest, they punted. As soon as they decided that it wasn't going to be drawn, they said, "Oh, to hell with it." we're just going to go with Pannone, which wasn't bad. He had one bad pitch that gave up a 3-run homer, and then the bullpen gave it up after that. But this offense, you knew was going to be a struggle going against Webb today.
Oh, 100%. And I think right now, as you look at this team, they have the bases loaded, 1 out, top of the 7th, Bryce Trang up to bat. I think you have yourself in a position to, I know Sparky was joking before, but maybe turn this around a little bit and give yourself a little bit of a chance. And that's what this Brewers team does. So even in a situation where you're piling it on, you're just going to go in there and have Thomas Pannone pitch and put your B lineup out there, you can still maybe find a way to win.
If Terang gets a hold of one here and it's 10-6 in the 7th, that changes everything. Because then your position player pitching goes out the window. If this is a 4-run game at 10-6 with 1 out in the 7th, the math changes on what they do in the bullpen. Because then Pat Murphy's got to be like, okay, well, we still got 6 outs to get 4 runs. That's very possible. We've seen the Brewers get 4 runs probably with 2 outs this year.
The offense, again, if they can get themselves going, usually the whole group gets going. So right now, this feels like bases loaded. Bryce Trang gets something to work, which he did just get something to work. That's a 2 RBI single. Looks like just 1. I jinxed it.
Oh, Vaughn is slow.
Yeah, I thought.
What are you going to do? He knows he's slow.
He should be fast.
So they're still loaded.
Still loaded.
That's again. I hate to bring this up, but that Blake Burke thing down in the minor leagues, he's got to be as big as Vaughn or bigger than Vaughn. And he's got like 25 stolen bases down there. Like, that is crazy.
Speed. He's got a lot of momentum on him, Sparky. Sometimes when you get going, some of those big dudes, they get going.
Well, Vaughn does not get
Chris Fielder was kind of like that. Once he got going, he was going.
Vaughn tries to get going.
Yeah, I think he's just overall like he's just not big enough to get that momentum behind him, so he's slow and then smaller. So I think that hurts him a little bit.
They have not used Contreras yet.
No, they have not.
So you still have Contreras sitting on the bench over there with an opportunity to hit. And right now, Churio's up. Then it's Bowers, Yelich, and then Sanchez is Churio double play. Dude, he has not been good lately. He has not been good. He's not been good for...
We let ourselves get too excited.
The
Brewers had 3 errors in this game.
I mean, I say Churio hasn't been good, and you look, and he's riding a 7-game hit streak going into this game.
It's just like
7-game hit streak, but it doesn't feel like he's like barreling it up and having a tremendous amount of success. He's finding ways to get hits.
It's a lot of singles, I feel like, out of him lately that we've seen.
Yeah, he's had 2 doubles in that stretch, all in the same game against the Rockies on Sunday. That's it.
Bryce Terang kind of does the same thing too, and I was talking about this with Tim last week on the post-game show last Wednesday. We were just kind of discussing how it feels like we need sometimes out of Bryce Terang a little bit more consistency with the multiple hit games. He has these bunches where he hits home run and then has 3 doubles and looks really good. And then he has a few games where he has 1 single, goes 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 1 single. It's like, yes, you're keeping your batting average up. You're doing all the things right, but it would be nice if you could just have a double every 4 games instead of 1 game where you have 5 hits and then every other game is kind of disappointing otherwise.
Some update here on Skubal and the Tigers. I don't know if you saw this, John Heyman. Skubal's situation is day to day. Trade looks more possible now after the Tigers lose 10-9 and 12 to the Orioles. When Skubal left the game, they were up 7-1 in the 7th, and they lost 10-9. They are now 51-58 and 4 out in the wild card race. Heyman then tweets later, Dodgers with young pitchers to offer in the best prospect stash surely are more interested now that Ohtani's pitching situation looks iffier due to multiple injuries. How can they not be, says John Heyman. For the love of God, please no. Please. I mean, I guess if this is about the Brewers winning the World Series, it's over. Probably if Skubal goes to the Dodgers, if we're being honest, unless they get besieged by injuries in the rotation. It's over. Now, at the same time, you can look at it and say, like Jim Bowden says, if Skubal goes to the Dodgers and they win it, you're not going to see a game of baseball in 27 because the owners want to fight to the death on the cap, and the Players Association does not want a cap at that point, and the owners are going to be in a precarious situation with the Dodgers winning 3 World Series in a row. You can't preach parity. You can't preach any of that stuff if it's the same team winning over and over again. Sure, you could preach different guys are winning the divisions, different guys are going to the playoffs. But if it's still the same champion at the end of the day because of that giant payroll, then yeah, that's a problem.
Do you feel like a salary cap is inevitable, Sparky?
No.
You don't think so?
It'll never happen in baseball. Well, I shouldn't say that. It will never happen with this union rep.
Okay.
He came from Donald Fear. He is fierce. He's never going to allow it. A salary cap floor, I think, is possible. I think the players get that. What they give up to get to that, I don't know. Another error. That ball should have been Cooper Pratt's, and it went under his glove on the backhand. That's 4 errors now?
4 errors for the Brewers. Yeah.
That's awful. Absolutely awful. But they have an off day tomorrow, so that's good. No, I don't think we'll ever see a salary cap. I think you'll see a salary cap floor, but that'll be the extent of it. The other option, and we talked about, they could go the NBA route. The problem is the Players Association is throwing a fit over there in the NBA, flagging the MLB Players Association. Hey, don't let them do this to you because they screwed us on this, where you have the multiple levels of luxury tax and that second apron that is pretty much killing teams in the NBA, and everybody's trying to avoid it because of how harsh the penalties are. Now, if you do that, then maybe you slow down the Dodgers, and even though the Mets are spending money horribly, the Mets and some of these other teams, right, that helps. But again, in order to get that, if you're the owners, then you have to give up things as well. So what would that be that you would give up? If you say, okay, we'll give you a salary cap floor that's like 170, which would be a dramatic jump for a lot of these teams, to 170, that's a win for the Players Association. I don't care who you are in the Players Association. That's a win for you. Mm-hmm. All your guys are getting paid more money in all the smaller markets. So that's a win. Okay. So now what is the counter then that the owners get from the players? Because it's not going to be the cap. So what's the next thing that they want outside of the cap that the players don't want to give up, that they would sacrifice to get these other guys paid?
Yeah, and I don't know what the owners are really truly thinking with that. Like, it feels like they're pretty dead set on the cap being the main thing. They made the commercials about it. I see them all the time. I think they're so dumb. As much as I think a cap would help with the parity of the game and all of that, I also think it's stupid to go out there and try to get the fans to vote on this, because you already know what most of the fans' opinion is. The players know what most of the fans' opinion is. You're not going to send them a petition and say, hey, this is going to change anything for what you guys are fighting for at this point.
Should be the ones with the TV commercials why there shouldn't be a salary cap. They should be the ones trying to work the fans over to get them in
they'll never be able to. Everything that they're doing right now, and I think they know it too, like, and I think rightfully so to some degree, is selfish. Like, they're doing all of this in their own best interest. And the MLB is trying to pose this as it's in the fans' interest that we do this. If they were maybe just honest about this being in their interest, we could get down to the bottom of this faster and have them have this discussion faster. But they keep trying to hide behind, oh, the players are the villains, instead of just saying, you know what, we're both being selfish right now. We'll both just figure out what we need to do together because we are going to be transparent about our goals.
I don't know. We should start figuring out topics for next summer, because if there's going to be no baseball, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. 414 says Steven Okert and Mason Miller, book them for the Brewers bullpen. Then we don't have to watch Ashby in his goggles in the playoffs. Well, I think you're still going to watch Ashby in his goggles. But right now, like Bryce Wilson is in, and now it's batting practice on Bryce Wilson. So now it's 11-3, multiple runners on the corners, and a 2-0 count on Eldridge. They're going to get to 15 or 16 at this point because Bryce Wilson doesn't look like he can get anybody out.
Yeah, and again,
it's not like he's walking guys. They're just hitting it all over the place.
Who's next? Is Yoho probably?
Yoho pitched yesterday.
So like he's probably the next guy though, because he's the next one to be like a sacrificial lamb. I think Bryce Wilson's your last sacrificial lamb, man.
12-3 now, but they got it now. Terrain got a runner coming from first to second, tagged him out.
Yay.
Whew. Okay, let's change gears. I want to hear from Matt LaFleur. That's coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. 2 levels, 30 different sporting events at one time, 2,000 square foot center screen. They have shuttles to and from Brewers home games. You can park in their massive parking garage. And then in order to get on said shuttle, all you got to do is make a $5 wager or more inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook that day. Then ask for your bracelet to get yourself on the shuttle, and you are ready to roll. full kitchen at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen area. Brunch all day long, homemade pastries and desserts each and every day. Over 40 beers on tap, a dozen different specialty cocktails. They have booths that can fit 8 to 10 people. They've got high top tables. They've got recliner chairs, big black leather recliner chairs that are super comfy. All of that available for you at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Check them out today at Potawatomi.com. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you at the Racine County Fair tomorrow. Is the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. He'll be out at the Racine County Fair from noon until 2. And then I'll be out there from 2 until 5 tomorrow. A Brewers off day tomorrow, so no leadoff show, no post-game show tomorrow. But we will be at the Racine County Fair. That starts tomorrow and goes through Sunday. So if you're looking for something fun to do, go on out there. In fact, I had called my dad, and I was like, hey, you want to get together on Friday night? Yeah, no, I have plans to go to the Racine County Fair. Cool. They want to go see some band that's playing at the Racine County Fair
just
Friday
go
night.
Thursday, and then you guys can just hang out there.
Nope, not going to happen. And then one of my old guys that used to be here back in the day, he texted me and said, hey, heard you go and be at Racine County Fair. He's like, yeah. I was like, he's like, yeah, me and my girl come out and hang out with you. Oh, perfect. See? That's love.
There you go.
That's love. Oh, Sparky's going to be there? All right, we'll go. I didn't have plans to go to Racine County Fair, but if you're going, I'll go. Sounds good. And we're going to have a bunch of cool giveaways that we've never had before. We got special giveaways just for this. Like, I believe we have magnets. I think we got some koozies.
I saw like a stress ball.
We've never had either of those. What?
I think I saw a stress ball. Like there was.
That might be old school. We had stress balls last year. I don't know if we still have any left or not.
I saw one that looked different. It was in the
so we have new ones.
It was in the bathroom earlier, so I also don't know what that means.
What?
I saw it in the bathroom.
Why would I don't even want to know.
Somebody was stressed out in the bathroom, man. Ate something bad. You got stressed out, you know?
Have you ever like grunted so loud in a bathroom where they heard you outside of the bathroom?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't get it. My 9-year-old was like, did you hear me? I was like,
well,
hear you doing what?
Is he trying to?
He's like,
is that his goal?
Yeah, she was having issues, I guess. He's like, I was grunting so loud. I thought for sure everybody could hear me. I was like, you had the fan on, and no, I definitely did not hear you. But thanks for sharing the story. I can't even comprehend why you would even be grunting at all.
Well, and then why you would want to like know if people heard you. Yeah. That's like I get it, you know. Sometimes you got rough moments in the bathroom. Yeah, everybody does.
Right.
But also I don't want people I don't want to know if people know, and I don't want people to know in the first place. So yeah, I'm good. Yeah, like I don't think that's a thing. Like I don't need to know, man. You can just keep that to yourself. I mean, I know we share everything. Communication is big and all that, but oh man, we're good. Okay, Matt LaFleur, he talked earlier today. Brewers down 13-3, by the way, top of 8. Hopefully Tim Allen hasn't fallen asleep and taken a second nap today while this game is going on. Exactly.
He'll be here for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show once this game is done. Matt LaFleur talking about what he's seeing out of these edge rushers, considering he has no Micah.
Well, I think we all know what type of player Micah is. He's a game wrecker. So I think, again, it's other opportunities for other guys to showcase what they can do. And there's a lot of youth in that group. And some guys that have been here for a couple of years that are just chomping at the bit to show what they can do.
It's going to be very, very big for this group, these young guys. It just is. Like Oliver, Sorrell, these cats here, they got to show up and do something. They have to. These first 4 or 5 weeks, somebody step up and have like 4 or 5 sacks through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the year. Show that you're capable of potentially being that other guy that can help. Because I think they're relying on Lucas Van Ness to be that other guy. That's what they're saying. He's going to be our guy. He would have been our guy had he not got hurt last year. He was off to a good start, and then it went sideways. So they're putting all their eggs in the basket of Lucas Van Ness. I'm putting all my eggs in the basket of everybody else not named Lucas Van Ness because I don't trust him. So I'm going to go with all you guys that are left, that you all are going to be the ones that step up and not Van Ness.
I don't know if I trust anybody yet. Like nobody has shown anything. It's a lot of young players. It's a lot of young guys that we keep getting told, oh, they're going to have that breakout. This guy's going to be important once he gets some playing time. And last season, a lot of these guys did get an opportunity to get some playing time, and it didn't feel like I was wowed by any of them. And then to your point, Lucas Van Ness, that's the same thing we've heard from him the past 3 off seasons beyond this one too. Like it's the same story. It's, oh, he'll be fine once he's just healthy. He'll be on the field. He started off hot. He had a good training camp. He had a good preseason, and then he gets hurt. We can't keep having that. Like I don't even trust him. I don't trust anybody until they go out there and prove it in a real regular season game, which they're going to have 5 weeks to prove that.
I'm glad I've rubbed off on you. Matt LaFleur asking about Luke Musgrave, who apparently is not going to practice. Why? Because apparently he has a neck injury. Why? I don't know. They didn't say, did they? Did they say what happened to Musgrave?
No, not really.
Here's LaFleur asking if he was surprised by that news.
Yeah, I think so. But it is what it is. Those are the circumstances. All you can control is how you respond to those. So I'm excited. It's going to be opportunities for these other guys to see what they can do and how they can contribute. But certainly, you never want to see a guy as like he's. I know he may not have the production that certainly he wants up to this point in his career, but I do think that he's got a legit premier trait in terms of the speed, and you got to account for that on every play.
You referenced this earlier when we were talking about Musgrave. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man, you're going to lose your job. Just telling you, going to lose your job. Can't stay healthy. And I don't want anything serious to be wrong with you or anything like that. But man, it sucks because dude's got talent. But I don't think it's going to work. Here is Matt LaFleur on Mr. Smack, the rookie kicker.
Well, I think every situation is a little bit different, but I think it just kind of tempers your expectation level a little bit and understand that there could be some moments that aren't favorable, but you got to live through it. And I think the talent, we all see the talent. It's just, can we harness that? And it's like every player out there, you got to have a level of consistency that's conducive to winning.
You know what I want to know? I want to know how much LaFleur was involved in them getting a different kicker from McManus. Was this all Goody? Was there a conversation? Really, what was the relationship between the coach and the kicker? Because remember, at one point, LaFleur last year was like, I don't talk to kickers. And that became a T-shirt, the whole deal. So I want to know what that dynamic was of those three, that little love triangle. Like, were those two, Goody and LaFleur, just sick of McManus and said, to hell with this, we're going to find somebody else that we don't have to worry about dealing with the ego and everything else going on there? Or really, what was it? Or was it simply, we need a scapegoat for why we lost in the playoffs to the Bears, and that dude is going to be our scapegoat, and we're going to be done with this? Like that, I'd love to know what the reasoning was, because you are not going to sell me that the coach is cool with a rookie kicker. And I am blown away by the fact that the general manager, who couldn't figure out the kicker situation to save his damn life prior to McManus falling in his lap because of off-the-field accusations, prior to that, had no answers, got everything wrong every time he touched it, would want to put yourself through it again when you have a new boss in charge of you and Ed Policy, who watched this fiasco from afar before when you screwed this up, and you all need to do something and go win a Super Bowl. And you're going to screw yourselves by having a rookie kicker? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and I don't even know if it's just a love triangle like you brought. I think it's a love square. Rich Bisaccia has to be brought into there at some point too. I think he had enough pull within that special teams room, especially with the contract that he had to be in that position, and that him and Matt LaFleur seemed like they had a relationship where it was, I'll let you go do what you do. You figure it out. You get the job done. And then that all of a sudden became a problem. When you bring up Brandon McManus being the scapegoat, I don't think that's true, because Rich Bisaccia was the scapegoat. When he stepped down and decided that I'm going to go work at Clemson instead, a lot of people shut up about what happened towards the end of the season with the special teams. And then it was brought up again once the Packers made that decision to draft Trey Smack. That's when people started talking about Brandon McManus and whether or not he was fit for the job. Before then, people didn't really have that problem. Yes, they were frustrated with some of his moments from last season, but it wasn't an issue for fans until the Packers and Brian Gutekunst and maybe Matt LaFleur, if he had any kind of involvement in this, made that decision to draft Smack.
Does McManus find a job before week one? So there's a chance.
He'd have a job by now if he.
So let me see if I got this right. There is a chance that this organization has to go back to that dude at some point during the season to bring him back.
No, you got Lenny Krieg, man.
Stop.
You don't have any faith in my boy Lenny?
Not Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Creed. No.
Krieg.
A Krieg, whatever. Who cares?
He's going to be the kicker of the future.
This is disrespect. I'm just saying that could be a thing. I mean, we're talking about the Brewers trading for Freddie Peralta. I mean, there is a chance McManus, who knows, maybe he ends up back in Green Bay if they can't figure out the kicker situation. You cannot, if this dude struggles and you're 10, 12 weeks in, You cannot go into the playoffs and cost yourself a playoff game because of that young guy. You cannot put yourself in that situation. You must find a veteran that has kicked in the cold weather, has kicked in windy and elements and all that, has kicked in Lambeau before. All of those have to be a prerequisite for whoever the kicker is going to be going into the postseason for the Green Bay Packers. It has to be something along those lines. To lose a playoff game that way at the end, I mean, crushing would probably be the best word to describe it. Matt LaFleur, now again, Charlie went through and cut all this up. What is this cut where you have Matt LaFleur on his, quote, some guys weren't happy with their roles comments?
What's that?
He checked out on me already. Look at that. He's not even out the door yet.
I got like 10 things to do over here,
I'm
trying to do a lot.
Looking at my phone. Matt LaFleur, this is the cut that you wrote for me. Matt LaFleur on his, some guys weren't happy with their roles comments.
Yeah.
So what was that from?
That was from the owners' meetings when Matt LaFleur was sitting down at the table with all the reporters, and he had mentioned after the exit meetings that some guys had talked to him about not being happy with the roles. A lot of people speculated that it was Rashawn Gary, and that was about it.
Who asked this?
It was a couple questions put together. So
good for you all for remembering that at this point. Yeah. I totally forgot all about that. That was a while ago. That wasn't like last week.
Yeah, but it was also an important talking point that a lot of people had with Matt LaFleur, and especially when he got the contract extension, it was brought up with that it feels like not a lot of these guys are bought in.
Susak just went yard on Vaughn.
It was Vaughn on the mound.
Yep.
I told you.
Absolutely crushed it. That's 2 for Susak this game, right?
Go away, dude. Yeah, that's his second one. Go away. That's awful.
If Vaughn doesn't hit well after this, I'm blaming this game.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Because he gave up a home run, you think it's going to screw him up?
Look at Joey Ortiz play. Shortstop can't hit, goes to third. He's fine. Why are we putting him at pitcher?
Andrew Vaughn is not going to be a long-term pitcher. This is not going to mess up.
Could ruin his confidence for the rest of the year.
Quiet. Dude.
Unbelievable. Here's LaFleur.
I think role clarity is key. I think that's our job as coaches. Like, hey, here's your role. If you want a bigger role, then you got to go out there and do it at the end of the day. So that puts some onus on the players. Certainly they got to have their opportunities, whether it's in practice or in those preseason games, to start to establish themselves a little bit. But, it is what it is at the end of the day. Our job is to put the best out there to give us the best opportunity to go win football games. And that's what we're going to do.
You don't want to change who you are, right? Like, there's a reason why guys went to bat for you with Ed last year after the season, because they believed in you and the way you do your job. So you have to stay true to who you are, even if there were some challenges.
Yeah, 100%. I think that you are who you are. And certainly I do take great pride in how we go about our business. And it's not just me, it's everybody. It's how we communicate to the players, and then, just be direct in terms of here's how we see it. And now it's on you to go. If you don't like that narrative that's been painted, it's on you to go change that.
I don't understand how you could be a coach in the NFL, a head coach for what, 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
And we're having communication issues with the players. How does that even happen at this point? I don't understand. I was just watching something yesterday. It was a Steelers writer talking about how McCarthy has changed everything with the Steelers organization. That he's so detail oriented. Everything is different. You had Mike Tomlin there for how long? So you're telling me then that obviously Tomlin must not have been the most detail oriented guy in the entire wide world, but just McCarthy coming in, boom, you have that. You would think if you've done something that long, like LaFleur has, that you wouldn't run into these issues.
Yeah, but also I think sometimes when you've been doing something for that long, that sometimes you maybe get complacent in situations like that, and that you start or stop focusing on things that maybe you were focusing on heavily at first because you felt like it was eating up time in other areas that you could be spending doing bigger projects, even though communication is something that you feel like should just be able to be figured out throughout the locker room. Your assistant coaches should be able to help you out a little bit with that. Again, especially when you're a name like Matt LaFleur already at this point in your career. I think it's different when you're Mike McCarthy coming into a new situation here, when you're Mike McCarthy coming off of a a spot where you've been retired for a little bit of time. You still need a little bit of time to get used to the guys in the locker room. You want to have that initial point of communication and that set kind of roles for everybody because you want to make sure everything's in place right away. When you're Matt LaFleur, you've had this in place for a while. It should be easy for a lot of these guys that have been on your team to get new guys involved.
No, I'm just saying it's disappointing. It really is. There should be a rule in baseball. If you're going to make a position player pitch, then make him pitch. Like there should be a rule like everything's got to be over 50.
He just struck a guy out.
Vaughn was throwing in the 90s at Cal. They thought they were going to sign him as a pitcher. So clearly he can throw the ball. The reason you don't do it, obviously, is because he hasn't pitched in years and you don't want him to blow out his shoulder or something. But watching this 39, 40 miles an hour. Good Lord. And the other thing I've never seen before.
Oh, he just threw behind a guy. That was.
What are we doing?
Just end the game.
Eldridge charges Vaughn, and there's a melee between two position players on the mound.
Like, if I'm the ump, I feel like the umps, if they have anything, since you're taking away their ability to, like, truly make calls with the ABS, let them call a game if it gets like this. Be like, just, it's done. I want to go home. Let's end
Yes, you should be able to end the game. Like, the other team should be able to raise their hand and go, we're done. We quit. Let's go.
That happened one time in a rec league game that I was a part of, that I was on the losing side, and we were losing by about 40 points. So we all just started taking half-court shots, both teams. And then the refs got mad and took the ball and left. So then we had to find our own ball, and we finished the game.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like the other team was just another group of our friends.
Right.
So again, we were all just messing around, and the ref got so angry. And we were like, you're getting paid no matter what, dude. What's the problem?
14-3 Giants over the Brewers right now. Bottom of 8. Tim Allen standing by, waiting to do the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. I'll take a quick timeout, come back, continue on, maybe. Or maybe it'll be the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.